2, 3.
Welcome back. You are listening to Mixing Music. I'm your host, Dee Kei, and today with me I have a very special friend, a very special guest. We got Juan, all the way from Jersey. Is that where you're at right now?
Yeah. What's up, man?
What's up, Juan? Juan and I, we were blessed. We went to Mix with the Masters to go see Leslie Brathwaite. We went together. Juan is a mix engineer, producer, recording engineer out in Jersey, mostly doing hip hop. Is that right?
Yes. Doing hip hop, a little bit of Spanish pop, but just mainly doing hip hop right now.
That's dope. Are you working at any studio right now?
I have my own little spot where I mainly just bring my own artists in and we just record here. Or if not, I'm pretty mobile, so I'll go to their home and I'll record there as well.
Dope. That's really awesome. Actually, that's a great business model, and might be a good idea for anybody that's listening. If you're able to do mobile, you might want to offer that because that's always great. All right, so today we have a very specific episode topics. Juan, I know you have worked with many clients now and in the past.
Yeah.
As have I, and today we're going to talk about how to deal with really crappy artists, how to deal with crappy clients, what you shouldn't be doing, what you should be doing, and how to get out of that situation if you are in that. So let's talk about, what is a crappy client? What's an example of a really crappy client?
For a crappy client, for me, I wouldn't say crappy. I would say they're just inexperienced, because everybody comes in with a certain level of experience, and not everybody's gonna be that all-star artist that everybody wishes they had every day. Sometimes you gotta guide the artist into doing certain things. I would just say they're inexperienced, and it's just your job to just teach them how to be a more complete artist.
Yeah, I actually really, really love that answer, because most of my experiences with not the best clients is exactly what you just said. They're inexperienced. They're kind of in the studio for the first time, or it's very rarely that someone who's very experienced with studio ends up being someone that you don't, not the best to work with, because they kind of learn the struggle as well,
Exactly.
But I really love that. I love how you said that you kind of it becomes your job to guide them, to help them, to learn the process, and to kind of figure out how to bring it out of them, bring the best game out of them.
Yeah, of course, because you really, just aside from just knowing what type of sound that you really want to hear, you try to help them out, because at the end of the day, they are paying for a service and there's your name on it. So you should always just give it your best and just try to help them out. There's nothing wrong with giving them pointers here and there. And if they're comfortable with it, then, you should really just go for it.
Yeah, so I think that it requires a lot of patience on our parts, and we should always be finding ways to add value to the clients and help them out in many different ways. So I actually really love that answer. But let's talk about some of the clients that have a hard time getting to pay you on time, or never show up on time to appointments, or cancel on you last minute on a regular basis. What are some red flags? What is for you the time that you don't work with someone? What is the time that you put your foot down and say no, this isn't gonna work?
Well, that really hasn't really happened to me. In my experience, I kind of just remain patient, just be the bigger person, and then I don't want to nag them, I don't want to keep hitting them up and saying, hey, where's my money, I kind of just take it on the chin and then just keep it moving. To be honest with you, there's going to be more clients, and it's not all about the money. I know I want to get paid and stuff, but it's not all about the money. Just be patient. When they got it, they'll bring it to you.
Yeah. Again, perfect answer. Dude, I agree. Totally agree the same way. With money, it becomes a little bit more complicated.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
In general, I feel like this is something that I personally struggle with too sometimes. And I kind of vibe with you. I hear you, that you're really patient, And I feel like me and many other producers or engineers, mix engineers, we aren't very patient. Some of us became mix engineers because we don't want to work with people in the studio. We just want to have our own time. But you're saying the exact right point. Patience is key. And then if you have to spend energy complaining, spend energy bagging on people, that's energy that you could be spending finding someone else.
Exactly. And I just, like I come from a humble space. So I know, not having money sucks. And sometimes you really want to get stuff out there, but you just don't have the funds. And you just need somebody to just believe in you and just help you out. And I'm one of those type of people where I'm going to give you my trust 100% from the beginning. And it just starts deteriorating, like, just by me seeing different things, Like, then I know, then I have to cut you off. But it starts at 100% and it just keeps going down, the more excuses you keep giving me. And then I know I can't trust you and,
Yeah. That's so interesting. There's only one time that I've ever kicked anybody out in the studio.
Oh, really?
I don't know if I've ever told you this.
Nah.
But there was a rapper that came in, kind of like that. I don't know what I can say. I don't know what I can say on the podcast, but it was kind of this SoundCloud rapper from around the neighborhood, this white boy, and he kind of got in the mic and we started recording. And his lyrics were all like super homophobic. It was like the most anti-gay song that I've ever heard in my entire life. And I'm like, bro, there's no love in this. I'm not supporting this. So I actually stopped the recording and I told him hey, I can't, I don't want anything to do with this. I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
Nah, that's serious. That's serious.
Yeah, but that's the only time I've ever kicked anybody out. And I'm trying to think of specific times that I've stopped working with people because of me. I mean, there's been lots of times where people stop coming due to different circumstances, but not because of, most of the time it's not because I said no. I don't think hey, I don't want to work with you anymore. I don't think I've ever said that except for that one guy.
Nah, that's a very uncomfortable, and I don't know.
Yeah, that's straight up weird session that
I think you did the right thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's also a lot of red flags, some people, I treat them slightly different depending on kind of the vibe that they get. For me, I feel like a red flag is when they come in, saying hey, I don't know, for me personally, just cause I'm trying to accept money, hey, I don't want to pay this. I don't have a credit card to put down the down payment. Can I just pay you in cash or stuff like that? When it gets a little bit sketchy, then I'll be like, yeah, but I charge an extra fee if you do that.
Man, that's, hey,
I don't,
you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. I mean, what are some red flags that you've kind of seen that kind of makes you, is there anything that makes you a little bit less weary? I mean, we've kind of, said that you're more patient and you're one of the more chill people to work with, but
that's weird.
Maybe the better question is, what is the balance between being patient and not taking on,
Well, I remember Leslie at the Mixed with the Master seminar. I remember he touched on him saying that, have the text message, have proof. So
yeah,
I make sure we text about it, I make sure we spoke about it before we already met to the studio. So that way you're already aware of what's going to happen. I don't really need to talk about it no more. We already talked about it and it's proof right there. I have the text message of you saying, okay, that you're going to pay. So
actually, yeah, I remember that too. He's I need to have it all in
yeah,
writing.
Exactly. You got to have the proof. You got to have the paperwork. You got to show them. So that's what I do. I just bring it up, and if they have an excuse, then I'm all right, man. Or in my mind, I already made a note, all right, he's one of those.
Yeah, all no, right. I feel you. One of the things that I also do, is not only I don't just keep written, evidence of everything. Well, not evidence, but written statements of. We keep all the emails, all the conversations that we have to. If I offered a discount, so I remember what it is, and they don't screw me over, and I don't accidentally screw someone else over. But I also like to have in my studio. In my case, I have a pretty super detailed policies list of what you expect if you don't show up. What you expect if you don't pay me on time, and then I kind of have them read over, and when they book me for a mixing session, then I have proof that they said okay, I understand the policies, and I kind of back it up with that too.
That's smart.
And yeah, so and that actually, to be honest, keeps away a lot of the bad customers. Ever since I did that, I also started charging a down payment. So if you want to book a session with me, before we even start, you have to pay, whatever percent, like the first $20, even if it's something really small.
Like, have
and
you
that
seen
actually
like a
made
difference?
people stop like showing up late, and that made people really like nobody canceled after that. My cancellation rate like went down like
Nice,
to almost
nice.
zero.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you that. Like, what was like the difference? Like, did
Yeah.
you see like a big difference?
Yeah, it was, especially with booking, because people took the sessions a lot more seriously when they've already
I hear you.
paid. Like, when they made the down payment for the first hour, then when people have already paid, people don't cancel. It's very rare when people cancel. And I have a pretty lenient rescheduling policy. So if I'm chill with them, then like if they want to cancel, instead of saying cancel, let's reschedule it for another time and I won't charge you for it. Which
I
is
hear
really
you.
nice on my end. I feel like, most studios have like a rescheduling fee, but I don't do that. But having that down payment, making them pay a little bit up front before we even get started. Nobody shows up late. Very rarely do people show up late. Very
I never
rarely do
really
people
thought
cancel.
about doing that. Like, one of my friends
Yeah.
actually told me about doing that to make the artist make a down payment. But I was like, yeah, like once I get a little bit more, a little bit more, like let's say I get like a big clientele,
Yeah. And here's the thing that like everybody's in a different situation. Like I know Leslie won't even he's in a different scenario, but he won't even start a project until it's paid in full. And there's I think like a lot of people like start projects and pay as they go. But I think the end of the day, the golden rule is to never, ever, ever, even on accident, avoid it as all you can, is to send projects before they pay you in full. Just holding on to the file.
Yeah, nah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I mean, I've done that a couple times.
Yeah, me too. I did that so many times starting out. That's like such an easy mistake that, people listening
people
right
just
now
like taking advantage.
can avoid.
Yeah, people like taking advantage of people. I mean, I just don't take it personal. I just say, hey, this is just business. There's gonna be those times where you just need to learn.
Absolutely,
that's the only way to learn.
Juan, I love your perspective on this because I can tell like you're just like a great guy. I bet like everybody loves working with you.
Yeah, nah, definitely. Yeah, everybody always says I'm just a chill dude.
Yeah, I'm the best. Yeah, I'm the best.
I mean, you need to. I mean, you need to just be confident in yourself and just go for it. The only way to learn.
Absolutely. I always talk about how in our industry, sometimes the only thing that separates you from everybody else is the fact that you're just a cooler person.
Nah, definitely.
And I feel like in general, the stereotype of the audio engineer is someone that's kind of, quiet and lazy and like gets angry and offended really easily.
Yeah, like nerdy and like, just stares at the computer all day. That's not.
Yeah, and that's not the case,
Nah.
And to be honest, sometimes some of us are short-tempered, but we need to be patient, and that's part of the game.
I mean, that's just the personality of the person. If you know how to work, I don't really care. Like a little limit of like when the person is just annoying. But if you just know what you're doing, I don't mind working with you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I love that. So we're going to wrap up the episode then. So Juan, how can people find you on social media, and how can people book you and look into your studio and your work?
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram. It's going to be at JUVN_DON. And yeah, just DM me whatever questions you guys have. I'm in New Jersey, so if you guys are around the area, definitely just look me up on Instagram and just try to book me for a session.
Yeah, my man Juan will hook you up. I know if you guys haven't felt it already, this guy's a good guy, so you want to be working with this guy. This guy's going somewhere.
Definitely, man. Thank you.
Juan is the man. Yeah, but you've been listening to Mixing Music. I am your host, Dee Kei. Please make sure you leave a 5-star review, and you share this episode with anybody that you think you need to share it with. Anybody who needs to hear our message.
Definitely.
Yeah, with that, thank you so much for joining me, Juan.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
1, 2, 3.
This episode of Mixing Music with Dee Kei has been brought to you by LaunchPod Media. If you want to start a podcast, make sure to start it right with LaunchPod Media.